I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Warren City Council for December 2025. Please join me in saying Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mrs. Leary, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Ms. Flasher. Here. Mrs. Casey.
Here.
Mr. Cashman.
Present.
Mr. Gilbert.
Present.
Mrs. McCain.
Here.
Mr. Bilella.
Present.
Mayor Wortman.
Here.
Mr. Kowski.
Here.
We have a quorum with all 7 council members in attendance.
Great, thank you very much. As you can see, we have a full house tonight. It's always great to see folks being able to turn out for the city council meeting. I know most everybody is is here for the recognition part of the meeting, which will be at the beginning. But nonetheless, I really applaud everybody for making the time and the effort to come out. I think it's very important, the recognition that we're going to be going through tonight. And of course, we do have some pretty significant things on the agenda as well. So I just, again, thank you for turning out tonight, and we'll get to the recognition here in a minute. And if there's, after the recognition is over, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. So if you would, after we get through that part of the meeting, feel free to move on with the rest of your evening. So I obviously a long laundry list of folks that are here this evening. We won't go through all of the names. Again, just welcome to the Warren City Council meeting for tonight. What I do want to offer up at this point is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda? This is the time of the meeting where you have the ability to address council for any and all purposes. Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 3, a motion to approve tonight's agenda, please.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question, comment, or debate on that? All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed vote nay. Okay, the agenda passes. Is there any reason to amend the agenda for tonight's meeting?
Mayor Wortman.
Mrs. McCain?
So we've had since our last budget meeting, we have some items that have come up on email regarding the taxes and the budget. And so I'd like to suggest that we move the tax rate, the real estate tax rate discussion ahead of the budget discussion. So I move to amend the order of the agenda.
Okay,
I'll second
I'll
that.
second that too. Well,
okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All right, any further question, comment, or debate? So to be clear, our agenda item 7C, which is establishing the 2026 real estate tax rate, you would like that to move to position A, correct? And then
Yes.
slide everything else down, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further question, comment, or debate on that? Okay, Mrs. Leary, please call the roll on that.
yes, Ms. Flasher.
Yes.
Mrs. Casey.
Yes.
Mr. Cashman.
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes.
Mrs. McCain.
Yes.
Mr. Bilella.
Yes.
Mayor Wortman.
Yes,
Motion carries unanimously.
okay. We will make that adjustment as we move through the business part of the meeting. Okay, agenda item 4, we have 2 sets of meeting minutes from the November regular meeting and then the December 8th budget public hearing. We have a motion to adopt the meeting minutes from those meetings, please.
Make a motion that we approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any question, comment, or debate on that? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, vote aye. All those opposed, vote nay. Okay, that passes unanimously as well. As part of your board packet, and what has been circulated prior to the meeting, obviously, there's a letter included from Mr. Jim Decker concerning Warren Works funding and the current budgeted amount. Obviously, that letter talks details in terms of where we're currently sitting as part of the budget and the proposed keeping that budget line item at where it's currently at. But we can get into that in more detail as we discuss budget. All right, so that's for reference. Any questions or comment on the correspondence part of what we have in our board packet at this point? Okay, so this is the best part of the evening. Then the rest of it's going to be somewhat mundane and businesslike. But I'd like to take the opportunity first off to invite Mrs. McCain forward and talk a little bit about Mrs. McCain and thank her and applaud her for her service to the community in the capacity of a Warren City Council member. For 4 years on the council, we have accomplished a lot together. There has been a lot of debate back and forth, a lot of good conversations, and ultimately, I truly believe that the city is better off for your service on behalf of the city. And I know, and I put it out many times, volunteerism. I mean, this organization, the municipal government, we have a great staff that takes care of the day-to-day and the operational concerns of the city. But the behind the scenes, and here, this obviously is not behind the scenes, but front and center in terms of your willingness to put yourself out there, run for an elected office, be elected, and serve diligently the city of Warren. I can't say enough good things about it and about your service, and I applaud you for that. And the city has a small gift for you, hopefully to remember fondly the time that you've had here at the Warren City Council. And on behalf of the staff and the council, we just want to thank you for your service to this great city. So thank you very much. And I'm going to turn the floor over to you and ask you if you have anything that you'd like to say at this point or not.
It's been interesting. Thank you very much. And I would just encourage people to step up and, serve as well. I think it's an important to do, and I've learned a great deal about governmental service. So thank you.
Come on up, and then we have somebody's.
We just love her.
Let's move this out.
Thank you.
If anybody would like to take the opportunity for some photos.
So you're Mrs. McCain is our friend Wendy.
Yeah. If you all would like to get a picture in front of the flags or what have you, that would be great.
Congratulations, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to our community. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
There's the time to get them home.
We're going to leave these chairs kind of off to the side here. I'm going to ask Kylie to come up and help with this part of the meeting. So we have a great opportunity tonight, and I'm going to have to use a couple cheat sheets because we have a couple of great things to recognize, and I want to make sure that I don't miss anything here. But once again, we have the great opportunity to recognize the Warren Area High School Lady Dragon volleyball team. They continue to set the bar in terms of athletic excellence, and I know just based on what's required to continue to compete, in a varsity sport, that coming along with that, the academic excellence has to be there as well. There is no possible way for these young ladies to continue to pursue their athletic endeavors if at the same time they're not taking care of what's really most important is their academic pursuits as well. They've had another phenomenal season, undefeated regular season at 15-0. They went off into the playoffs. They won the District 10 title, which is no small feat. I mean, it's really difficult to accomplish given the level of competition that is out there. We had them here last year. It seems like this program continues to just set the bar in terms of what excellence looks like. And it's just a great opportunity once again to recognize the Warren Area High School Lady Dragon volleyball team. So with that, I'd like to invite Coach Dolan up, and he can help us give out some certificates to his players. And if you'd like to talk a little bit more about his great athletic team, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, once again, thank you for recognizing the team. They are a very dedicated group. They love the sport, and I think that really drives them to excel. They seem to always want to be on the court practicing, always want to be playing the best competition, and it shows when the results that they've had the last several years at least. So I really appreciate their dedication, and again, thank you for having us here.
Excellent. I can read off the names and then hand them down the line. Go ahead. Coach Ballensberger, Sue Ballensberger. Coach Randy Gelati, is he able to be with us tonight? Okay. Is Ellie here?
No.
Assistant Coach Samantha Nozzle.
Yeah.
Coach Paige Wilson. I know Paige is there. Grace Wortman. Zoe Rogers. She able to be with us tonight? Okay, Addison Brown. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Haley Kabiska. Congratulations. Peyton Kabiska. Congratulations. Addie Corey. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Michaela Dolan. Congratulations. One of the captains of the team, Lauren Fabig. Tia French. Congratulations. Julia Getner. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Elsie Johnson. Hayden Johnson. Congratulations. Adelaide Keyports. Lily Newton. Ren Norris. Congratulations. One of the captains of the team, Madeline Nozzle. Congratulations. Laura Pearson. Congratulations. Addison Ristock. Grace Schwab. Brooke Sherry. Congratulations. Kendall Skirta. Madison Snell. Milicia Sorensen. He's also a captain of the team. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Peyton Woderson. I think that's it for tonight. Okay, we'll give those to you. All right. And if anybody would like to come up and take a picture of the team, that'd be great. And you guys, girls, might have to adjust a little bit.
Yeah. I know. Sorry. That's what she's doing. Yeah.
Nice job, ladies.
Thank you.
Congratulations, girls.
Yeah, these are my favorite.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Madeline Nozzle, her mom is my best friend. Well, her stepmom. She's the coach in Nozzle. She's in Buffalo. I am the villain for Jacob for her. What's happening? What? You said that was happening? I know. It's really quiet. As we go down, it's quiet.
It's a smaller group that we have a great opportunity to recognize tonight. Is from the Beatty Middle School, and they had an academic competition that they won, the Keystone competition at the IU5 in Edinburgh, which was held at the end of November. Hopefully some folks were able to see the news articles that were in the Your Daily Local and the Warren Times Observer. But a number of kids from around the area went to Edinburgh, and these young men and women competed in a really interesting academic exercise where they were presented with a problem and they needed to come together as a team, formulate a plan, and basically come up with a solution to a problem that was geared specifically to STEM or science, technology, and mathematics. And then basically formulate this plan, put it in a presentation type format where they could basically talk about it in front of a Shark Tank type judging panel and based on that competition, they were chosen not only as winners of the competition, but as the People Choice Award for everybody that was taking a look at that problem that they were trying to solve. Specifically, what they went after was trying to alleviate the problems that they have in cafeterias at schools and the long lines within the cafeteria, and making those lines more efficient. You know, obviously everybody wants to grab their food and get to the table so they can hang out with their friends and do really fun stuff at lunchtime. But a really creative and innovative way for our young people to go and solve problems and be able to get up in front of people and be able to articulate, you know, what that plan looks like and make a convincing argument on, you know, why their idea has merit and why it should be recognized as something that is useful and solving a great problem. So with that, we'd like to present some of the students here. And again, I'd like to invite them up if they're able.
We only have one student in attendance.
Okay.
One student was actually from Youngsville as well. So we had 3 from Beatty and then one Alice Sanford from Youngsville. But we have Ty Bryan here.
Okay. Congratulations very much. Well, I will allow you to talk a little bit if you would like to. We appreciate you making it out tonight, and congratulations again. I know that you know, the academic pursuits, again, when we talked about it just a little bit when we were talking about the athletic endeavors, but you know, at the top of the list of things that are important at school are the academic pursuits, and we commend you for a job well done. And please pass that along to the rest of your classmates and the team that you competed with. So once again, thank you very much. And with that, we do have one other young man that is on the agenda. Unfortunately, he is running late from his work, and we will probably push that recognition of Mr. Rocco Ciliano to the January meeting. So that is not going to be fulfilled on your agenda. Okay. We will move out to the business part of the agenda. Okay, with that all being said, and the agenda modifications that we made, we will move on to paragraph 7, which is the business part of the agenda, and we will take up agenda item 7C first, and then we will move back to the top of the list. So agenda item 7C, proposed ordinance establishing the 2026 real estate tax rate. Mrs. Byler, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Each year, City Council must enact an ordinance establishing the real estate tax rate for the upcoming year. The real estate tax rate for 2025 was 20.8 mils. Due to the recent countywide tax reassessment, the total assessed value of real estate in the city has increased. When reassessment occurs, state law requires the city to calculate the new millage rate that equalizes revenue by reducing the rate so that the city does not collect more tax revenue solely because of an increased assessment. The adjusted revenue neutral rate has been calculated to be 3.3282 mils per dollar of assessed valuation. Under Title 53, Section 8823, municipalities may set the final tax rate at up to 10% over the prior year's rate. Doing so requires a separate and specific vote by council. Council may wish to consider this option due to the uncertainty surrounding ongoing tax appeals. As tax appeals are resolved, the total taxable value could decrease, which would reduce the city's total projected tax revenue. Provided is a chart with all of the options available for the millage. Action requested tonight are two actions. The first is council's consideration and motion approving the calculation, acknowledging the initial equalized real estate tax rate of 3.3282 mils. And action number two is the motion to adopt either A, the ordinance establishing the final real estate tax rate for 2026 at 3.3282 mils on each $1, which is the adjusted millage rate only, or B, the ordinance establishing the final tax rate, real estate tax rate for 2026 at an increased millage at that set amount mills on each $1. This is the adjusted millage rate with the increase. Enclosed are the proposed ordinances, an email that was sent out December 5th to council, the millage calculation form, and section 8823.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to open up the floor to anybody in the audience that would like to address the council on this agenda item specifically. Will you please
Julia
come?
Clark with
will you-
Phase 2 downtown Warren. I'm
Excuse me,
suggesting.
ma'am, can you please come up to the podium,
Oh,
please?
yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Julia Tar with Phase 2 in downtown Warren. I have concerns about that item. I think that raising taxes is not where we need to be at. And I believe we are revenue neutral as state mandated until 2027. Is that true, Andrea? You know that?
That's what the 3.3282 mils does, is makes us revenue neutral for the year,
For the
not
year of,
2026. Not factoring in any adjustments due to tax assessment appeals.
being that there's many tax assessment appeals going on right now, I don't think it would be in our best interest to raise the taxes. I don't think it's a great idea at all. Whoever came up with that idea it's a bad idea.
That's the state legislature that provides for that.
Well, okay. But I would like to suggest that you table that topic until a later date.
Okay.
Is that possible?
I don't believe it's possible to table that. We have to make a.
I don't
decision
suggest
on-
any increases.
Okay, we can hear, yep.
Okay, so what are we gonna do about that?
Well, we're gonna have a debate here in a minute in terms of where we're gonna go with this agenda item, but your concerns are noted and we will take that into consideration as we deliberate the decision that we're gonna make on where we're gonna set that tax rate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So I just want to make a broad statement. This conversation isn't about the city raising taxes. What this conversation is about is trying to figure out based on two numbers that are quite frankly both not accurate, because to try to figure out the revenue and maintain a revenue neutral position for the city of Warren. Based on the tax assessments and the new valuations of the properties that was instituted as part of the county program, that number, so the value of the properties within the city, that number multiplied by the millage rate are two variables that we're trying to guess to try to figure out what the end state revenue number looks like and try to be revenue neutral. We know for a fact that because there's up to 3,000 tax appeals that are still pending, how many are going to go to the common claim court to figure out, what the final disposition of that valuation is. there is a huge amount of uncertainty associated with what the value of the properties that are actually within the city. So that leaves us as the city council to try to guess what that number is going to be and come up with a millage rate number to try to get back to where we think that the total tax revenue is going to be, which is a neutral proposition. We as the city are not the ones that are proposing that we're raising taxes. What we're trying to do is just maintain the tax revenue as it has been in years past. Bottom line, this council has taken great pride in the fact that we have not raised taxes in 4 years. So the debate here, and we're going to talk about what is the right guess, because fundamentally that's exactly what we're doing, is trying to guess at what that final valuation is going to be, to make sure that the city has the tax revenue needed to operate the city in the city budget. It is not something that we, as the city, have initiated in terms of a tax increase. I just want to be really clear about that. This is not a conversation about the city raising taxes. It's about the city trying to guess at what that millage rate needs to be to maintain status quo, which is what we have done over the last 4 years, which is not raise taxes. As part of that process and this whole appeals process and the real estate valuations contained in state law, there are provisions because they recognize that there is serious uncertainty in terms of what that real estate valuations are going to be. And there's an allowance given in that state law to enable municipalities to make some adjustments to try to better guess what that outcome is going to be. And really, that's what we're trying to do. Whether we go one way or another or halfway in between, we'll find out, because we're going to turn this over to the floor so we can have a debate about it, because we really understand, the situation out there with the taxes and revenues and, the state of the economy. And we're very sensitive to that, citywide on behalf of our citizens. So just wanted to be really clear about that.
Mayor, does the city account, do you consider those increases to balance the budget?
We're considering it based on the tax revenue that we have forecasted that we are going to be receiving as part of the budget process. We have a budget that's in front of us right now that we have talked about over the course of the last 3 months. And based on where that budget is, it's certainly included that our tax revenue that we are going to be bringing in is equal to what we brought in last year. Is that a fair statement, Mrs. Byler? Yes. So it is contemplated as part of our total budget package. Yes.
So yes, the answer would be yes, that you do use those increase in taxes to balance the budget.
There is no increase in taxes. We're talking about a revenue neutral
Okay.
increase.
You're remaining neutral and being very conservative with that. I got
Okay, I'm going to turn this over to the floor at this point where we can talk, within the council. So with that, would anybody like to enter that onto the floor with a motion, or do we want to talk in more detail about where we're at with this agenda item?
Mayor,
Mrs. McCain.
I move to approve the calculation acknowledging the initial equalized real estate rate tax of 3.3282 mils, and additionally establish the final real estate tax rate for 2026 at 3.3282 mils on each dollar. Period.
Yeah,
We need
We're-
two separate votes. They can't, oftentimes we can combine things into one, but in this situation, we need two separate motions and two separate votes.
So I'm making two separate motions, and then we can do it
Let's
both
we've got
let's
to do
do one
one
at a
at a
time.
time.
So we'll bring the first one to the floor with a first motion that'll have to be seconded before we can take it, further for further debate.
First motion on number 1 to accept 3.282 as our equalizing rate. Correct.
3282.
Yes, I will second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to set the millage rate at 3.3282 mils on each $1.
Mr. Mayor.
Just a Ms. Flasher, please.
So I just have a question. So obviously, like you've mentioned in what you just explained, is that we're trying to make our best guess based on what we can kind of anticipate being the appeals. What is the risk either way of if we leave it at 3.3282 mils and the appeals are granted, what happens to our city budget at that point?
Let's pass number one before we go.
Yeah, you're getting into the second
That's part of
aspect.
the second. Let's wait on that question until we get number one.
Okay.
'Cause
Fair
that
enough.
has nothing to do with number one.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Remember that question and we'll ask it again.
Wrong.
Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that everybody, to include myself, is understanding that we basically have to approve one before we can move on to two. Okay, so we have to set that as the equalization rate, and then if we choose to adjust from that rate, that is the next piece, which is
You have to vote even if you don't adjust.
Right.
If you still
Right.
remain the same.
Right. Okay. But the first thing that we need to do is we need to set the equalization rate at 3.3282 mils. Okay, we have a motion and a second in that regard. Mr. Villela?
I was just going to propose a clarifying question that, and if we need a friendly amendment to the motion, but the motion is to approve the calculation acknowledging the initial equalized rate.
So this one's pretty straightforward then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any further question on that before we,
Mayor
Well-
Warman?
Mrs. McCain?
I actually do have a question. So, and Jessica was nice enough to answer some questions earlier, but it's a complicated.
Yeah.
It's a complicated topic. So if last year we were at 2.8 mils and now we're at 3.33 mils, Wait.
1.8.
1.8.
20.8, what does that mean? Like, put that in layman's terms. Is that a lower tax?
So because the assessed value, due to the reassessment, the assessed value of city properties has gone up. So we use this millage rate to calculate what real estate taxes individuals are going to.
But numbers wise, so if the real estate tax rate was 20.8 and now it's 3.33, what does that mean in numbers?
Depends on your
Wait.
assessment.
Right, it depends on the value of your home. So at this point, the 3.328 or the 3.3 is supposed to leave your taxes completely
Same.
revenue neutral.
Okay,
So
so I would,
your tax bill should be the same if we were to leave it at that rate.
okay, that's what I wanted clarification on.
Assuming that your assessed value did not change. So
So if my assessed value changed, then I'm still paying more.
potentially, or it could have decreased and your real estate taxes went down.
Oh,
which did happen.
Mine increased, but okay,
I'm sorry to cut you. Are you
I'm good.
good? Okay. I think to get to that point, can you talk about what the change from the assessed valuation of the city property was and what it currently is? Because if you are talking about a 20.8 mils going to 3, that is almost a 6-fold increase in terms of,
And that's what
or decrease in terms of what the,
the total value of the city was like 110 million. And when they got done, it was like 660 million. So when it increased by a factor of 6, you had to decrease the millage by the same factor to make it work. So everybody in theory has the same tax bill. But depending on each individual property, some properties went up a few dollars and some of them went down a few dollars through the city of Warren. So, but at the end of the day, it's a math equation where 3.33 gets you the same tax rate as 20.8, relatively speaking.
Thank you. That was a good.
on the assumption that tax or that assessed value that increased almost 6-fold doesn't.
Yeah, if your house only
Get
increased
lowered.
5.5 times, then you got a little break. If it increased over 6.1 times, then you get a little bump. And everybody's within that plus or minus. Some people's tags went up 40, 50 bucks. Some of them went down 40 or 50 bucks, and they're more extreme, but that's generally what the houses did. Commercial properties are much different animal.
To stir the pot a little bit,
Sure.
when you said it, essentially the city property was 100 million. Remember, it was at 50% of appraised values. So if you double that, then it's 200. So it went from 200 to 600. So that's only a 3 times.
Well,
You know,
but
that's,
the millage comes back.
I know.
I understand. You can,
This
know what you're
gives
telling-
it more confusion.
I'm trying to give the algebra one answer, not the algebra.
That was
That
good.
answer.
That was a good
that
answer,
helped.
Mike.
All right. Any further questions or comment on this part?
Bill can weigh into this because he doesn't.
No.
Maybe so you're quiet as a church.
Not his problem yet.
Okay, any further question, comment, or debate from the council at this point?
I have a quick question.
Excuse me, ma'am, if you'd like to address the council, please come forward and state your name, please.
Colleen Sloan,
And your address for the record?
809 Conowanga. I think I've complained enough, you should all know my address. I wanted the Algebra 2 explanation because that 50% of your property value was new to me. I've only lived here I'm in my 9th year. I mean, I knew that happened here, but other places I lived that didn't happen. So when the new mills go in place, or even whatever we do this year, will be 100% of your property value and not 50% moving forward.
Right.
Okay, that's all I wanted to confirm.
Okay,
All right,
thank you. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor and then we have a second.
And I have a good question, I clarify this in my mind a bit. Right now, if nobody were protesting their assessment and we go out at the 3.3 millage rate, we collect the same essentially from everybody.
Exactly.
Okay, so what happens to the city if I went out and protested and got my assessment lowered quite a bit?
Now he's going to.
Do I pay, then I would be paying less than I paid last year if I were successful doing that. So is that correct? Is my assumption there correct? If I went in at the 3.32.
On an individual basis, I don't think that is a 100% accurate statement because there's some variation in that in terms of, what an individual, their tax was last year versus what it is this year. But municipality wise, the total assessed value times the millage rate, in theory, if nothing changes, brings in the same amount of tax revenue.
Okay, so we have no problem. We will collect no matter how these court
If you're
cases end up.
successful and your property gets lowered, you get less, the city gets less tax. And more specific question.
Getting into the second.
We are.
And the second motion takes care of that problem.
Well,
No, to answer your question.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second on the floor. Let's keep the comment or the debate specific to establishing this millage rate as the initial equalization real estate tax rate of 3.3282. Then we can move on to the next part of the conversation, please. Any further questions or comment about that? No. Mrs. Leary, please call the roll.
Ms. Slasher,
Yes.
Mrs. Casey,
Yes.
Mr. Cashman,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yeah.
Mrs. McCain,
Yes.
Mr. Valella.
Yeah.
Mayor Wortman,
Yes.
motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so what that means, what we just did is we set that as the equalization rate. If the assessed value of the total properties within the city does not change, with that millage rate, the revenue coming into the city will be exactly what it was in 2025. Is that an accurate statement, Mrs. Byler? Okay, so now the debate really is, because there's X amount of appeals up to 3,000 and how many of those are going to play out and what the adjustment for that total assessed value is going to look like. Do we want to, as a council, adjust that rate up to what is provided by state law of up to 10%? That is the question of item number 2. I am going to throw that back out on the floor for council to deliberate further, please.
Mayor Wortman,
Mrs. McCain.
I move to establish the final real estate tax rate for 2026 at 3.3282 mils on each $1.
We have a motion.
I'm not gonna second it, but I have a question. Can I ask my question now?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say we move on that motion. What happens to the city's budget if our appeals go through and we're no longer revenue neutral? What happens if we leave it as it is right now?
We get less money.
I know what happens to our budget. We just get less money. Like that is our negative impact as a whole.
You would get less money and you would have to fund the budget more through the fund balance.
Okay. And let's say we go overboard and we overestimate on millage and we have a surplus. What is our plan with the surplus if that were to be the case? Or would that be
I'm sure council would think of something to spend it on.
so that would defer to our body to kind of
Yeah.
look at and say, let's place it here.
We just had some long budget sessions with some potential projects and where we see those things going, so.
In
Okay.
a true world, what you would do is when you come to the 27 budget and you saw that you may or may not need an increase in
Mhm.
taxes because you've got a little bit more, right? And if you're generous of heart, and you're still breaking even essentially on your budget, you may lower the millage at that juncture
Mhm.
also.
Sure.
The thing is about this is when you go out and research this to other municipalities, school districts, and so forth, they see about a 10% decrease in revenue. If you set the rate to be revenue neutral, you won't be. And we have the experience of industries within the city limits. And there's already one industry that is already appealing, has already filed their appeal, all right? And we've always seen the assessments to go down, all right? There'll be more industries, my belief. And I know there's several houses that I know of that are also appealing. And I think one of the houses that is appealing has a justification for a lowering of their assessment.
Mm.
But you're going to see lowers of assessments through this whole process. So if you keep this millage where you are, you will not be revenue neutral. All right.
Mhm.
Now, people look at it as you are raising taxes. You're not raising taxes. You're trying to be revenue neutral from last year. So this is a whole new ballgame. And where we, if you say it now, I don't want to do a 10% increase, maybe you cut the baby in half and put it at 5. All right. But you are going to see lower. Your assessment is going to go down. And when it does go down, you're going to have to rebate that money back to the industries, right? So the money may come in, and then as the assessments are lowered, you have to give it back. See what's going to happen? Now, are you making a mistake by not increasing the millage or not? And you can say I would have to say you have a pretty fat ending fund balance, and you just roll the dice and see what happens and fund it out of that. And you can afford to do that. But next year, in all likelihood, you're going to have to, move it up. So is this the time to put it on a revenue, trying to figure out what a revenue neutral millage is or not? That's it's
That's
a
how we're
judgment.
tonight.
Yeah, it's a judgment call. It's not factual call. It's a judgment call.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
And my view is the knowledge that I have of talking to the county commissioners and some other people on that, the 10% of is gonna be about the right number, in my view.
Mayor Warman, if
We-
I,
we have
can I
a-
just
we-
add,
What's that?
I was just gonna add that you could second the motion and we could still debate.
Yeah.
You don't,
We have a motion.
you
on
don't
the
have to
floor.
agree with the motion,
Uh,
just so that.
you either need to second it, or we need to have another motion put on the floor so we can continue on with the conversation.
Or we could debate it, still debate it or question it without a motion. Three options. We have three options.
Technically, we need to have a second so we can have it on the floor.
Second, and you already, and I think you did second it, right? And you
No, I did
No.
not. You're allowed to ask questions before a second. You just can't internally debate with one another, but you are allowed to ask questions before.
Nobody actually officially seconded.
No, I did not.
That's a fine point between questions.
Yeah.
I understand, but I asked a question, so I'm on the right side of the point.
Okay, at this point, let's keep tracking along with what we're trying to accomplish here. So we have a motion on the floor to set the or to keep the millage rate at 3.3282.
Without a motion, I'll make the motion that we do the 10% increase, 3.6610.
So what you said?
We need to have an internal conversation here at the council. It's on the floor at this point. We can answer some more questions after we're done debating, please.
So we need a second.
We need a second on
And
that.
you can always amend it back.
Okay.
Or somebody
Just
can make a third motion.
In an effort to just kind of put a little bit more context in terms of and quantify the dollar amount that we're talking about. Mrs. Byler would put together, a really handy chart as far as I'm concerned. If you draw your attention to the total potential revenue column on your blue sheet, the delta or the difference between the equalization rate and not making an adjustment at all is $2.22 million. Okay, is what the tax revenue is that we're talking about. If we were to adjust that to the maximum amount allowable by law, which is 3.6610, that takes it to 2.44 million. So the delta between the two being basically $220,000. Okay, so who's best to carry that uncertainty? Because that's what we're doing, is we're trying to guess what that final valuation is going to be for the city properties, and nobody here in this room can tell us what that number is going to be. Okay, so we can put that carry it as the city and decide as a city that we are going to make an adjustment at the end of 2026 if in fact we do not realize the amount of tax revenue that we had year to year, meaning 2025 to 2026, and make an adjustment based off a year's worth of appeals and adjustments to that tax assessed value. Or we can try to guess at it right now. But the delta between those two numbers is $240,000. Right? So the city, getting to Mr. Cashman's point, is, based on our fund balance currently, can we handle carrying that amount of money and that uncertainty? We could probably make that work at the city level. But in true intent to be revenue neutral, we would have to make an adjustment at the end of 2026 when we get that valuation of the city property again in the fall of 2026 to adjust that number back, try to achieve that same result with the next budget process. Fundamentally is what we're doing or asking to do. I can tell by the fact that we had a motion that failed for a second, which was to keep it basically right where it's at. There's enough uncertainty that we're unsure about doing that. And we're also uncertain about wanting to take it to 3.66 mils at the same time, which is the 10%. Because we're in a situation where we just don't know. We don't know what that real estate valuation is going to end up being. And so practically speaking, we have to do something with this tonight. We have to, by law, we have to set that millage rate tonight at this meeting. So unfortunately, this debate is going to continue on until we get to, a conclusion. Mr. Gilbert, please.
So it states here that there's approximately 400 tax appeals. We're basing all this on the assumption that all 400 tax appeals will lower taxes. Is that what we're?
No, not all of them.
I don't think it wasn't based on all being lowered. Our history of watching these things is most of them get lowered. Very few of them get neutral or raised.
But essentially, we're assuming all 400 are going to be lowered.
We don't know. Well, we didn't do the calculations of what the 400 are, if they're commercial. No. We didn't do the math to say if all 400 go, it's a 10%. No, it's virtually, there's 4,200 properties in the city. There's about 400 that are in appeals.
Okay.
That's 10%.
Yep.
Most of the time than not, they get lowered when they go through the process.
So we're assuming that all 400 will be lowered, right?
In the state, not
Some
necessarily.
of those could be lowered and some could stay the same, but if some of those are lowered more than what we would anticipate, that could account for.
And we've written some pretty healthy checks in the past, as you know.
Yeah, I just feel that they've already been in front of the board for appeals already. Now they're going to the courts.
Well, the big ones, the
push.
The big ones are going to the court.
I just don't know if they have the legs to stand on when he gets in front of the judge, but.
There's a level of uncertainty still there
Yeah.
in terms of what the assumptions are, and I don't think that.
I don't like this guessing game that we're playing with.
What's that?
I don't like the guessing game that we're playing here with people's money. We're like, oh, we'll just go to 10, but that's another $60, $50 for these people. I think we're forgetting about the people that have to pay this money.
Can't pay for the offset of the appeals.
And if I
We
could,
do see all the time.
and Mayor Wortman, I just wanted to kind of add to what Phil's saying. 7B, we're going to propose engaging legal counsel and property assessment firms regarding real estate tax appeals. So then, are we assuming they're going to fail? Like we're going to pay the lawyers to represent us?
That's what happens most of the time.
Then why are we paying the lawyer? Then why would we even pay the lawyers if we're going to fail
Because if you don't-
automatically?
If you don't go through the process, you have no hope of, they're gonna win automatically. We have no hope of either
They
maintaining
would
or
probably.
getting less
they
of a
would probably
reduction
more.
than what they're asking for.
What we have
Because
seen.
we're saying,
One at a time, please.
we're saying
This is
we're
the-
saying we're already saying they're gonna fail. That's why we want to go to 10%.
No,
Right?
history shows that the average reduction based on appeals is 10%. That's where that figure comes from. We don't know. Like the mayor said, this is an estimate based on what has happened over time. And we're trying to be, with the 10% enables the city to be somewhat proactive and try to anticipate and be prepared for those reductions in those expenses.
I'm sorry, but at this point, it's on the floor and the conversations among the council.
I want to make one point.
I'm clear. We're debating internally, for now. Thank you.
Point I would, if I may, there's two things. One is our current budget that's on the table already has a deficit in it. All right. And if history proves it's right, then the state, came in and has looked at this and said, generally speaking, you get about a 10%, and that's why we allow it. Right. And what I've seen in the past, especially on the industrial side, and that they'll come in with an appraisal here, maybe the county will come in with an appraisal here, and generally the judge cuts it in half. So you see a lowering. I think that's been the history. And you're going to see that kind of history, I think, in residential properties as they go before the judge. And so what's different? The county's got to get an appraisal. Before, when you went to the assessment board, it was their best guess I know that because I got an appraisal and went before the assessment board and got it lowered down towards my assessment. Or else I'd be off the hook with the assessment or appraisal in hand, but I paid for my appraisal and got it lowered as a result. And, you know, and this is how these things work.
Okay, at this point, we have a motion that failed for a second, and then we had another motion that failed for a second at keeping things as is at the equalization rate and or the 10%. Is there any other motion that any council person would like to entertain at this point?
I'll make a motion to establish the tax rate for 2026. The millage amount at 3.4946 and each $1, which would be the 5%.
Second that one.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any, Miss Flasher?
Just to be clear, if we see over the next year that these appeals, we can rebalance this millage next year to be revenue neutral.
You would have that option, sir.
You may not want to be revenue neutral.
I understand.
Well, I mean,
And
that's
just want people know that this is not a permanent picture either.
Yeah.
It is, but it is, but it's not.
and we have a motion, we have a second, I'm sorry, say again. All right. I'm gonna offer this up to the public at this point. If anybody would like in the audience to address the council on this agenda item specifically, please come forward.
Mayor, I want to make a point with, I think, Cashman and Phil here. You said it may be lowered. What's lowered? The assessment value of your home or the value of your home? Two different numbers. My house was evaluated at 284,000. I say the number is 234,000. Okay, which one are you referring to when somebody said here it's based on because they're going to be lowered? What is going to be lowered? Be very clear with me. I don't understand that.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, you said a little bit ago that we could wait because of the unknown. I would suggest you wait till the unknown. That's what I would suggest everybody here does. Because like Phil said, these people are older folks in our community, $60 more in their budget. No, let's work together to balance your budget. And I know this is to balance the budget at the end. Unacceptable. Yes, it is.
But thank you for your comments.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any further questions or comment or debate? We have a motion. We have a second.
Mayor Wortman,
Mrs. McCain.
are we done with the public comment?
Yes. Unless there's anybody else that would like to address the council, please come forward, state your name, please.
Using 225 Liberty, I would agree with her. I'd say you just wait until we know what the known is before we start trying to take shots in the dark on this.
Agreed. I think you're going to get a lot of retaliation from the community. We talk to people.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any additional question, comment, or debate?
Mayor Wortman.
Mrs. McCain.
I mean, I would agree. I don't understand why we wouldn't wait. You know, Mr. Cashman already said, once you raise it, you're not going back. I'm pretty sure that's what was said. And our city manager said, if we end up with a extra money over the neutrality, if you will, I'm sure the city would find something to spend the extra money on, and that's the wrong answer.
Well, no, but I
That-
guess the converse of that is just remember this whole budget was based on getting a budget neutral or getting the amount of money as tax appeals are agreed with, the revenue in this book goes down. You will not, you would miss out on the revenue that you would miss.
Right.
You'd have to be-
But we have a fund balance that would cover that expense.
so that-
And so then if the unknown proves, we're making a lot of guesses, if the unknown proves to be that we come up short, then we could raise taxes next year with real information instead of taking a shot in the dark. Because it's still, we like wordsmithing it, or whatever, the legalities, it's not an increase, but to the person that's paying the taxes, it's still an increase. If you go anywhere from over the equalized rate. So I just still would urge, the council members to consider the impact to, people that don't have, sometimes that $50 matters to somebody that's living, on a retirement or a pension. It's not necessarily our own, what we have personally. I just would urge everybody to consider not feeling pushed to, assign an increase and, do the right thing and, keep it at the equalized rate. And then next year, because we have the money to cover any loss in the general fund. We know we have the money. We could wait it out and then do the right thing. I would just encourage council members to consider that option.
Ms. Flasher, please.
If we weren't to raise it and we would have to rely on the fund balance for the difference, would any of our emergency services or established city services be impacted by that reduction in the fund balance?
Next year, no.
Okay.
Remember, you already have a deficit in the budget.
I don't know.
Well, it's what was agreed on in the budget, which is that was going to be covered by the general fund. It's not, that's a separate topic.
We have a deficit in the budget. And we also have a pretty strong end of year fund balance as well. So
Correct.
those two things need to be talked about together. So the question is, who's better to carry the uncertainty associated with the unknowns associated with the tax appeals? Do we carry it? And then I can almost guarantee you we'll be putting ourselves in a position next year where we're going to have to take a serious look at raising the rate from, if we go with the rate, the equalization rate, because I don't think anybody in this room thinks that our assessed value citywide is going to stay neutral or stay where it's at or increase. It's only going to go lower. So the question is a practical one, and as far as I'm concerned, in terms of who's best to carry the uncertainty for the year. And that to me is the way I will end up voting on this issue. But I can almost guarantee you, we would be setting ourselves up for next year. We're going to have a discussion about raising taxes truly, and then it will be us that's initiating it, as opposed to reacting to the real estate valuation or appraisal process that happened through the county process. We are completely reacting to a set of circumstances that was given to us. That I just want to make that also clear. This is not something that the city initiated, and we are the ones that are reacting to it.
Mayor Wortman?
Yes.
So then, and that's as our constituents and our residents who we're here to represent, I think they would want us to wait and have the facts, because we're later in the agenda going to talk about increasing fees in the codes department. Many of us have had property values that have increased. Our county taxes have increased. We're hiring a law firm, which I assume is not cheap, to represent, to represent the city and county in the tax appeals. So, I feel like the community would like us to wait, and be responsible with their hard-earned dollars.
Ms. Flasher.
And hearing all points here, I do understand that next year it puts us in a precarious position if we leave it at this equalized rate. I think this is not an easy decision at all for any of us, I think here. It's hard, whether we're reacting or not. I think that if we're looking at a situation where we are going to see increases for next year and we're going to be looking down a potential increase that we have to initiate, I think doing a marginal increase now versus a large jump later does have our constituents' interests in mind and their best interest in mind, because it's inevitable. We see it every day that prices are going up across the board, across industry. And so I think it's inevitable in some sense. And I think that by looking at it critically and starting at a 5% versus a full 10, we do have to go higher for whatever reason next year. Less of a gap we're covering. It's just my perspective. This is hard. This is really, really hard. And we hear you and we know that it's frustrating and we get it. It's not easy to sit in the seat and do this, just so you know. It's very hard. That's it.
Any further question, comment, or debate? What we have on the floor is basically setting the rate at 3.4946. That was seconded. Any continuing conversation about that? Okay. Hearing none, Mrs. Leary, please call the roll.
Ms. Flasher,
Yes.
Mrs. Casey,
Yes.
Mr. Cashman,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert,
Yes.
Mrs. McCain,
No.
Mr. Valella,
Yes.
Mayor Wortman.
No.
Motion carries with 5 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you.
We take a 5-minute break.
Yes, we can. We are going to take a 5-minute break. So, Chief Rivera, there it is. All right, so we changed up the order. So getting back to the top of the list, we will go to agenda item 7A, proposed resolution adopting the 2026 municipal budget. Mrs. Byler, please.
Mayor, it is proposed that City Council adopt the 2026 municipal budget, which is summarized as follows. General Fund, $10,407,670. Community Improvement Program, $5,656,000.
Oh, I see.
Sewer Fund, $3,027,532. Parking Fund, $562,876. Action requested is council's consideration of motion regarding the adoption of the 2026 municipal budget resolution. Enclosed is the proposed resolution and a budget summary.
Thank you very much. Just a comment. I just want to, before we get into further deliberation concerning the budget, I just want to, thank the staff for putting the time and the effort into putting and presenting such a well thought out budget. I think, getting to the points that we've made in the previous discussion, this budget was proposed with a no tax increase for the year. Aside from the conversation that we just had based on millage rates and assessed values and that whole thing, staff did a great job of putting together a budget that takes care of all the operational concerns and the needs of the city and no tax increase. So thank you for that. And at this point, I would also now like to open up the floor to anybody that would like to address the council concerning the 2026 municipal budget or anything contained therein. Mr. Champlin, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I have nothing to I thought the budget was great, before what happened, or before the proceedings earlier. And I think Mr. Gilbert said there were like 400 cases for, potential appeals in the city. And, our line item in the budget 7140 allocates for 2026, 45,000 for legal services. Well, if we are going to be defending ourselves in anything like 300 to 400 cases, I gotta believe it's gonna be, if you got a bargain, $150 to $200 a case to have legal representation. So 400 cases times 150 or 200 is $60,000 to $80,000. And if we'd actually incur that, I don't know if this surplus will handle it or whether that has to be addressed, or perhaps that expense will be addressed by choosing the 5% millage rate. That was my observation, and didn't know the legal expenses were gonna be the issue they are. And the paper reports that we're splitting the cost with the county or something. We were gonna take some of the costs, the city was gonna split. And I hope we're only paying for our cases, so that's my comment.
And the school district.
Yeah.
And the school district, yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Champlin. And we'll probably get into a little bit more of the details in terms of that process when we talk about the legal fees, the hiring of a law firm concerning the property assessment, tax appeals, and how that process works. But certainly our municipality, school district, and the county are all involved with that process as part of the appeals, because that revenue obviously impacts directly those budget and those funds. So, okay, anybody else would like to from the audience talk or address council concerning this agenda item? All right, hearing none, I'm going to turn the debate over to the floor at this point. I will make a statement. I would like to see, as part of the 2026 budget, I know that we have been allocated 75% or $75,000 going towards Warren Works. I think it's absolutely critical and necessary to continue to fund that effort at the current levels that we are at, which we did in 2025, which was the $100,000 mark. I think we, as a city and a county, have a great amount of momentum going in terms of our efforts to keep and attract high quality workforce for our businesses and our community, and continue to promote our area, which we have so many great things going on, in an effort to continue to advance the interests of the city. So I make the recommendation that we add, that $25,000 back to what we had originally contemplated when we established as one of the key anchors for the Warren Works effort, the city, county, and the business community at $100,000. I would like to make that an official motion. I normally don't make motions. If anybody would like to second that, I would entertain that, please. It appears as if that is going to fail by lack of a second. Okay, I'll turn it over to the floor.
Make a motion that we adopt the general fund balance as presented, along with community improvement program, sewer fund, and parking fund, at the stated dollar amounts.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further question, comment, or debate?
Can you just clarify what the funding would be for Warren Works?
75,000 to be paid over 12 months. I should also comment that if the paper is correct, and Mr. Decker, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they said their ending fund balance that having a shortage of 25,000 is not a problem going forward for 26.
What numbers are we referencing concerning that?
There was a statement in the paper out of Warren Works saying that we have an ending fund balance that will take us, because we haven't spent as much money as we thought. So they should have enough money that even if we're shorting them, we're not shorting them, we're only giving them 75,000. That will take them through 26 easily. Now, if I'm wrong on that, Mr. Decker here can correct me on that.
We put together the 2026 budget for Warren Works based on what we understood the city was at. It's a 75,000. We do have a few $1,000s left over, if you will, carried forward from the last 14 months of operation. Not $25,000. But there'll be a few dollars in there. What we have to do is look at pairing out the level of marketing that we'll be able to do, and also look more aggressively at the private sector for funding to make up the difference. And I said 2 years ago when we put this together, we were looking at an equal share of $100,000 apiece from city, county, and the Warren County Chamber. The county was not able to do the full 100 last year. They shorted us to $50,000. This year we're getting shorted by the city 25. Last year we put 160 in from the WCCBI. So, we're finding a way to make this thing work, but unfortunately the stool doesn't have equal length legs. And there's only so long that we're going to be able to rely on the private sector to make up the difference. So.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Mayor Wartman.
Mrs. McCain, please.
I just have, want to clarify, nothing against Savannah Casey, but, is there, because the Warren Works line item has been probably the biggest debated topic in our budget, should she vote or not vote? And I'm bringing it up now because it kind of sets a precedence for the future. And when we did the interview, that was kind of why she's here, is because she agreed not to, participate in any votes that had to do with Warren Works.
I agreed that I would need to abstain if the council thought that, but I had asked the solicitor, Mrs. Stapleford, if it was legally acceptable that I do vote, and based on that conversation, I believe that's accurate. So
it's acceptable if she votes. She's not benefiting personally. She is situated similarly to other people at WCCBI. And actually with this being a reduction, that helps to further that.
Okay, so we have a clarification on that.
And I think that should be in the minutes. Make sure that that's in the minutes.
Any further question, comment, or debate? And can you read back just the motion to adopt the budget as presented? Is that what we?
Yes.
And who seconded that?
I get that. Yes, Ms. Boucher did.
Okay. All right. Any further question, comment, or debate? Mrs. Leary, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Boucher? Mrs. Casey?
yes.
Mr. Cashman?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Mrs. McCain?
Yes.
Mr. Valella?
Yes.
Mayor Wortman?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item 7B. Proposed engagement of legal counsel and property assessment firms regarding real estate tax appeals. Ms. Stapleford, please.
Thank you.
Warren County concluded a countywide property reassessment in 2025, and an appeals period was opened for those who wish to dispute the new assessed value of their property. The County Board of Assessment Appeals heard approximately 3,000 appeals countywide, and final decisions were mailed in November. It is anticipated that a significant percentage of those determinations will be appealed in the Court of Common Pleas. Additionally, it is probable that the independent appraiser typically used by the county will have prepared written appraisals for a number of the appellants, thus creating a conflict with this independent appraiser. In consideration of the foregoing, it is proposed that the taxing bodies, county, the city, and the Warren County School District be represented by outside legal counsel and independent appraisers during the next step of the appeals process. The Warren County Commissioners retained the services of Sergio Lopresti of San Martino, Stout, and Lopresti for commercial property appraisals, and Ed Sakarik for residential appraisals. The county expects to retain Jordan Schuber of Dillon, McCandless, King, Coulter, and Graham as legal counsel. Attorney Schuber has experience in municipal law and assessment appeals. The county commissioners will consider a joint representation agreement pertaining to the above services at their meeting on December 15th. It should be noted that the fees and costs incurred under a joint representation agreement would be split proportionally among the three taxing bodies. The action requested is council's consideration and motion regarding authorization for the city of Warren's participation in a joint representation agreement pertaining to legal representation and commercial and residential appraisal services pertaining to assessment appeals before the Court of Common Pleas.
Thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to open up the floor to anybody, member of the audience, that would like to address council on this agenda item specifically. Mr. Peterson?
Yeah. So I'm curious, you mentioned the budget of $45,000 to retain legal counsel in this matter?
No, that's line 714 or something in the budget, legal expenses for 2026.
Well, for all legal, what would be the budget for this particular matter?
We don't know,
We don't have.
because we don't know how many people are going to appeal and what the extent of those appeals are going to be,
So it could be a pretty big number. It could be 100, it could be 200,000 easy, right?
potentially.
Well, that's kind of crazy. don't you think?
I thought we knew how many people were
But if the
appealing.
city, but if the municipalities don't defend, then the person who's appealing their taxes automatically wins. And then the municipalities have no chance of, like Mr. Cashman said, oftentimes they meet in the middle.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have any chance of that or even getting it up to that point.
So my experience in this so far has been the two companies that do the evaluations, the assessments, Tyler and also Vision Government Solutions. Nobody knows what the formula is that they're using or the data that they're applying to arrive at a final valuation. So there's a huge X factor there. May run into some problems litigating that. You may not contemplate. It's going to get expensive. And I think that taxpayers are going to have to pay for this. I just don't think it's worth it.
Well, but the flip side is, like I said, if we don't defend, if somebody appeals an assessment of $200,000 property and they say, oh, I think it should be worth 50, if that isn't defended, then it's 50.
So
And
some
they're
of the properties I've seen are actually like our building, for example, well overvalued. And most of the people downtown way overvalued. So of course they're appealing. I think most are not going to go the Court of Common Pleas route. They may wait until next year. But the city to retain an attorney to go after these people, are you just trying to?
Okay, I want to stop, just make sure that we're clear in terms of what we're doing here. We are contemplating entering into an agreement to keep on a retainer because we will be defending our interests in the Court of Common Pleas as part of the process of this appeal process.
You're jumping in with the school district, you're jumping in with the county.
If we don't defend our interests, then we have no dog in the fight. We're not going to be able to defend ourselves. So what we're doing right now, and we get into the comment about the unknown in terms of what that final result's going to be in terms of the tax bill, we don't know because they're X amount of appeals that are gonna go to the court. And we need to be able to defend ourselves, that's all. And if we don't, then we are not looking out for the best interest of the citizens of Warren or the residents of Warren, defending our interests.
Your interests, but the citizens of Warren are paying for the legal bill.
That will be incurred when and only if we go into an appeals process. We're not going to be paying a fee until we are going to be put into use this law firm to defend our interests.
But you already admitted that you don't even know what that number's gonna be.
We have to have a law firm on retainer to defend ourselves because we know that they're coming. I mean,
There's 300 people.
Okay,
What's that number?
we're not going to continue to engage in a debate here. If you have comments that you would like to address to the council for consideration,
I
please.
think it's a bad idea. I think it's a waste of taxpayer money.
We're not wasting any money until we go to the court, and we're not wasting money at
You are
all.
going to the court.
You're
retaining it.
We are going to get dragged to the court as part of the appeals process. We will not have a choice. Thank you. Would you like to address the council? Please come forward, please.
Lydia Valls.
Alumni of the junior council seat. Yes, thank you.
Just to make it clear, without the legal representation, granted that these appeals go through and the appraisal values go down, later on, this goes back to the tax conversation that was happening earlier, that is later going to affect those tax rates later on, correct?
Absolutely.
So essentially, the money that we're discussing right now about this legal fees, the taxpayers pay it simply because that's how the city needs to function based upon those taxes, correct? Essentially, dumbest ways of saying it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't matter right now what the legal fees end up being in the end, because without that litigation on that side and those appeals, it could affect the taxes later on.
The appeal process will definitely have an effect on the taxes. And yes, correct. Thank you. So just to be clear about the fees associated with this being contemplated tonight is just to enter into an agreement. We haven't incurred any fees associated with said agreement until there is a need that's necessitated by the appeals process for the city to defend ourselves, our interest. Is that all a fair statement?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Flasher,
I'm not wrong. We've engaged in this before. We've seen tax appeals, I feel like as long as I've been on council, and this is how we've handled tax appeals going to the courts for as long as I've been aware. So this isn't like a new precedent that we're setting just based on our real estate tax millage setting. Okay.
Because of the sheer volume.
Okay.
okay. I'm gonna allow Mr. Champlin one more time, and then we are gonna turn the debate over to the council floor.
Yeah, well, what to debate is, I believe the proposal says that the expense will be split proportionately, but proportionally isn't defined, at least on the paper I have. So we only pay for the cases in the city. Is that what our proportion would be? Do we split a third with everybody? That's my question. I don't know.
It's prorated based on the amount of money coming to the municipality.
No, to pay the attorneys.
That's what I'm saying.
The rate to pay your tax bill is generally about 50% of the school and 25 the county and 25 the city. That's who pays the legal.
So that's how, that's the city will pay that portion of those.
The tax revenue.
They bill 100,000, the city pays
25,
25%.
county pays 25, school pays.
Okay, so it's prorated based on realization of those tax revenues.
Plus or minus 5%. Bill.
Okay.
You know,
Any further question, comment, or debate, or can I get a motion to put this on the floor officially?
I'll put it on the floor, that we approve, the engagement of legal counsel and property assessment firms regarding real estate tax appeals.
Then we have a motion, and then we have a second.
I have a question.
Mr. Cashman, please.
This is to Andrea. So when this goes on, property by property on that, when you come to a settlement, it'll come to the city. So we'll see each and every one and we'll have to approve that, right?
Right.
We have a motion and we have a second.
Mayor Wortman,
Mrs.
we
McKay.
do have a second, right?
Yes.
We do.
Okay. The first, when I read this, I just thought, wow, that's a lot of lawyers. So I don't even really, when I read that second paragraph, I'm not even sure which lawyers will be part of.
It says Jordan Schuber. The county expects to retain Jordan Schuber. And the name of the firm is Dillon McCandless, King, Coulter, and Graham.
So, but the school district has a different attorney.
The proposal to the county, the city, and the school district is to all use Jordan Schuber.
Okay, that wasn't clear when I was reading this paragraph. And then I thought we knew how many appeals there were. That's why we voted to change the tax rate.
We have an estimate in terms of the number of appeals that are outstanding and how many are there going to be going to the court. There's assumptions made. And I don't think there's not a hard and fast number at this point that is known in terms of how many of those are going to go through the court system.
Okay, so we know there's X number of appeals. We don't know how many will go to the Court of Common Pleas.
Right. And a lot of the factoring and trying to get to the guess is, historically it's been a 10 to 15% of the number of outstanding appeals will end up continuing to go through the court system. Whether that holds true in this case or not, we're not 100% sure, but that's a number that continues to kind of flow out of the conversation, is that historically that's kind of where it's been.
Okay. And then I feel like this question may have been asked in a different situation, but I'm going to ask it again because I have it. What if somebody goes to the Court of Common Pleas and we don't have representation, they're not going to give us they're not going to have a different assessment for the city. It's like the county and the school board has a lawyer and they're going to fight the case and they're going to land on whether the appeal works or what the assessment is, regardless of whether we're involved or not. When you think,
No, that's what is it? I would just caution is that if we are not part of that process, then we have no vote or say in terms of if we think that there's a negotiated settlement that is acceptable to the city or not, which we have those conversations routinely when there's a tax appeal. Do we find it acceptable? The county might, the school district might, the city might say, we don't agree with this, and no. But if we don't have representation as part of that group, we don't have a voice, and we are going to take whatever settlement the county or the school district is going to settle, and we are just going to have to accept it. And then in that case, we are not representing, the residents of Warren, and we are just accepting and shifting, I believe, shifting our responsibility as elected officials that are looking out for their best interest to other entities, being the county school district or the county commissioners, frankly.
historically, in the last 4 years, from what I can remember, we usually just go along with what the county and the school board does.
In some cases, we have.
Right. I don't know. Has there ever been a case that we haven't?
There have been instances, at least when I've been here, we've gone back and asked questions, but we've at least been part of that process. Whether we agree or not, we're at least part of that process and we have a say.
But it seems irrelevant if we're just going to go along. Just my opinion.
Well, I think that determination hasn't been made on whether we're going to go along or not. We don't even know what the set of circumstances are.
Right. But historically, we do.
In a couple cases in the recent past, yes, we have agreed as part of this consortium with the county and the school district. Okay, any further question, comment, or debate? Do we have a motion and a second to adopt said? Okay. All right, hearing none, Mrs. Leary, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Fleischer?
Yes.
Mrs. Casey?
Yes.
Mr. Cashman?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Mrs. McCain?
No.
Mr. Valloa?
Yes.
Mayor Workman?
Yes.
Motion carries with 50 votes in the affirmative.
Thank you very much. Okay, agenda item 7D, proposed resolution appointing solicitor for 2026. Mr. Holtz, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is requested that the city council consider entering into an agreement with the law firm of Stapleford and Byam to act as the solicitor for the city of Warren. Attorney Stapleford will continue to serve as the primary counsel to the city, and Attorney Christopher Byam would serve as the secondary counsel per the retainer letter. And there are no increases to the fees. The firm has completed its 16th full year in the city, and I do recommend continuing their service. Action requested is council's consideration motion regarding the resolution providing for the retainer of Stapleford and Byam as a solicitor for 2026. Enclosed is the resolution, the retaining letter, and an exhibit. Any questions regarding that proposal?
Thank you very much. At this point, I'd also like to open up to the public. If anybody would like to address council on this specific issue, please do so at this time.
Is Byam, do they represent the school district?
Please come forward.
Did you say Byam? Like,
Yes,
do they represent the school district also?
I believe currently they do at this moment.
Our office does.
Yes.
Okay, well, isn't that a conflict of interest?
No.
No, it's not.
Why not? I mean, you're two governmental entities.
If there was
That's
ever-
a conflict, in my opinion. I mean,
if there was ever a situation where the city and the school district were at odds with one another and litigating, then yes, it would be a conflict, but it's not a conflict for our office to represent two municipal bodies located in the same county.
I think it's a conflict. I would
It's
suggest not.
thank you, ma'am.
Well,
Okay.
Mayor Wortman, I just want to interject something since it's my last night here. I had a situation where I was had a question with Ray Zudanek, who, as we know, is our one of our judges, and I asked him about that topic, conflict of interest, and he said the litmus test for him is if it's a perceived conflict, it's a conflict. And so I bring up this topic of conflict of interest, and we say, I've heard said, well, if there's no financial gain, it's not a conflict of interest. Well, I don't know that that's true generally, because again, according to Judge Zudanek, if it's a perceived conflict, it is a conflict. So I think I would just recommend that we look at that a little closer in the future.
may not have been a
Okay.
conflict in the
We're-
past, but it could be a perceived conflict in the future.
Okay, at this point, we're going to turn the debate over to the council floor. Does anybody want to put this on the floor?
I make a motion that we approve Stapleford Byam as our city solicitor. And I also have to echo, they've done an excellent job. And through the 20 years I've been here, and actually we appointed them as we lost our solicitor to being a county judge. So they've done an excellent job, been very responsive to any questions and so forth. And I'm very pleased.
And I will second that motion and echo that I do trust your firm's discernment, and any future ongoing and your service to our city has been exponential. So thank you for offering to renew.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any further question, comment, or debate?
Mayor Wortman?
Mrs. McKay?
Last year when we appointed the solicitor for 2025, my question was, do we send out for bids for the solicitor? And generally it's not required, but I'm pretty sure I suggested that we, give other law firms the opportunity to, be considered for that position. Have we done that this year?
Any questions?
I don't know. I just feel like that would be fair. Because you know what, I guess we keep saying change, we want to change, but then I keep seeing the same thing over and over and over and again, and we're expecting different results and we keep doing the same thing. So I would just, think about if we actually want to be more progressive as a city and we actually do want to change, we're going to have to start changing instead of doing the same thing over and over again. So that's not a question, it's just a statement.
Any additional questions or comment? I will make the comment that I think that the firm of Stapleford and Byam has done an outstanding job on behalf of the city, and have provided the city with sound legal counsel on a number of different matters, and always with the idea keeping the best interests of the city in mind. And I have no reservations at all with continuing on with the contract in 2026.
I guess I'd like to make the comment too that the longevity plays a key role in it. And then we've already discussed the budget and these numbers were a factor in said budget, correct? And so just that you've done a very nice job and we appreciate, the due diligence and in that. So
Okay, any further question, comment, or debate? Mrs. Leary, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Flasher?
Yeah.
Mrs. Casey?
yes.
Mr. Cashman?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Mrs. McCain?
No.
Mr. Valella?
Yes.
Mayor Workman?
Yes.
Motion carries with 6 votes in the affirmative.
Great, thank you very much. Agenda item 7E, proposed resolution and agreement appointing an audit firm. Mrs. Byler, please.
The city's current contract with its appointed auditors, Eberlein and Falk PC, formerly Felix and Gleckler, has expired. A new contract is required for the preparation of the annual financial audit. Eberlein and Falk PC have submitted an engagement letter to provide audit services for fiscal years 2025, 2026, and 2027. The proposed contract includes an increase of $400 over the past term, with annual fees not to exceed $30,500. The firm has also submitted a separate engagement letter to continue performing the sewer agreed upon procedures review for fiscal years 2025, 2026, and 2027, with no change in pricing and an annual fee not to exceed $4,200. City staff have worked with Eberlein and Falk PC since 2013, and they have developed a strong understanding of the city's accounting and financial practices. Based upon their experience and familiarity with our operations, it is recommended that Eberlein and Falk PC be retained as the city's auditors for fiscal years 2025 to 2027. Action requested is council's consideration and motion authorizing the retention of Eberlein and Falk PC to provide auditing services for fiscal years 2025, 2026, and 2027. Enclosed is the proposed resolution and engagement letter.
Thank you. I'd like to offer it up to the audience if anybody would like to address council on this agenda item specifically. Please do so at the time. Okay, I'll turn it over to the council floor, please.
I move that we authorize the retention of Eberlein and Falk PC to provide auditing services for fiscal years 25, 26, and 27.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further question, comment, or debate? Mr. Valella?
Mrs. Byler, can you explain, I see the two letters and they're very, very similar. And it was agreed upon, I know, a while ago. Why is the sewer thing pulled out separately with its own fee and not just under the regular audit process?
That's a separate agreement that we have with each of the municipalities, because we bill them for sewer usage.
For the 3 townships.
Got it. Thank you.
Any further questions or comment or debate?
This is a comment I would like to make is, finding a firm like this who does municipal auditing and that has gotten to be harder to find. And, we used to have this done locally, right? And, they got out of business. And, we ended up, personally finding these people, which I think, when I was a little bit more involved, does a very fine job.
Thank you. Okay. Final questions, comment, or debate? Mrs. Leary, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Ms. Fleischer?
Yes.
Mrs. Casey?
Yes.
Mr. Cashman?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yeah.
Mrs. McCain?
Yes.
Mr. Valella?
Yes.
Mayor Wortman?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you very much. Agenda item 7F, proposed resolution establishing fees. Mrs. Byler,
Last time you're gonna hear from.
your show then.
There's still a lot of reviews bad down here.
It's all about the money tonight.
In response to changing costs for the provision of various permits, services, and use of facilities, it is necessary from time to time to amend the city's fee resolution. The affected pages of the proposed resolution with consideration, with the following proposed amendments noted in bold red type are provided for city council's consideration. The current fee resolution may be viewed in its entirety at the city's website, cityofwarrenpa.gov/municipal fees. The first amendment is for vacant property registration. At the September 15th, 2025 regular meeting, council adopted ordinance number 1990, establishing a foreclosure and vacant property registration program. In accordance with the ordinance, certain fees are to be established. Page 2 of the proposed resolution indicates the fees. Number 2, in accordance with Act 22, as it pertains to the provision of police video recordings, it is required that the fee resolution provide for a charge for the medium on which the recording will be provided. That is located on page 7 of the proposed resolution. Number 3, at the October 3rd, 2022 special meeting, council approved a 3-year contract with Waste Management for twice per month recyclable materials collection with the option to exercise years 4 and 5. Under the terms of that contract, the rate charged by Waste Management increases annually, and therefore it is necessary to incrementally increase the recyclable material collection fee to cover the cost of the contract. That is noted on page 8 of the proposed resolution. Number 4, recently the stormwater management permit fee and escrow amounts have not been sufficient to cover the required services. Therefore, it is recommended that the required escrow amounts be increased. This is noted on page 9 of the resolution. Number 5, due to rising costs associated with the restoration of street openings, it is necessary to increase the corresponding fees. This is outlined on page 9 of the proposed resolution. Action requested is council's consideration motion regarding the proposed resolution establishing fees. Closed are pages of the proposed resolution which contain the changes.
Thank you very much. Would anybody like to address the council on this agenda item specifically? Okay, hearing none, I'll turn it over to the council floor, please.
Mayor Wortman, or actually, may I speak?
Mrs. McCain, you are.
And the clock says 9 o'clock and it's 10 o'clock. Or is my watch wrong?
I think you're watching.
Oh, thank God. I was like, oh my God. Okay. You know, I don't wear my watch a lot, so I must be on the old time. I just want to, I don't even know what's the storm management? I mean, that's a big increase from 500 to 1,500 and 500 to 2,000 and then 2,000 to 3,000. I don't even know what is that?
That was my question too. Could you just elaborate on point number 4, the stormwater management?
And same with the street the street openings. I don't know what are those?
Yeah.
For that, to our engineer.
Okay.
Answer to someone. So, part of that fee covers the review of the stormwater management plan as well as inspections. And it's important to note too that the escrow, whatever is not used, is reimbursed back to the applicant.
In certain cases, the lower amounts in the previous fee schedule were not adequate to cover that, and it's harder to recoup those costs. Once they've been spent and after the fact. So, this is just a deposit, and then whatever's not used gets reimbursed.
Like what, who is it a business that would need a stormwater management plan, or who does this apply to?
Anybody that's adding, impervious surface, so if you're, gonna put in a driveway, if you're gonna add on to a building, parking lots. So typically residential users fall into that first category, the 0 to 1,000 feet, where there is no escrow. And it's more commercial users that fall into the higher category.
And then the street openings, what is that?
Those are fees that for the utility companies, the gas and the water, that they pay to restore the roads, the brick, the concrete and the asphalt.
Oh, kind of like on Market
So
Street?
those are like a pass. Oh, yeah, that part, street has seen some more.
Thank you. Sorry, I was just.
Those are ones that goes through. They're a pass through. Utility.
Okay, Mr. Valala.
Point number one, just for clarification, there are no fees listed. At least not that I'm catching. So the foreclosure and vacant property registration fees. I see 4 items underneath that heading, none of which with a fee.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, that's my question too.
That's a very valid question.
It's gonna say. How'd that make?
Valid question.
It's in the ordinance, we just, what was that, Randy?
I don't know what happened there.
Oh, it's agreed upon, it's $300, of which, ERA retains, 125 of that. And then the, database and the remaining amount is remitted back to the city.
Was it 300 just for the first item?
300 for the first, and it's a biannual fee.
So foreclosed property initial registration fee. 300.
Yeah.
Foreclosed property semi-annual registration fee.
300.
300. Vacant property initial registration fee.
300.
So all 4 of them are $300.
But it's all the same. It's one fee. So if it's a vacant, foreclosed, all of those, it's only a one-time semi-annual $300.
You're not going to pay.
Yeah, you're not going to pay $900.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion, there's not a motion yet on the table, on the floor.
I make a motion that we accept the fees except for number 1. I'd like to see that in print so I can look at it.
I thought we already did that. Didn't we, Andy? I thought we approved this,
Did a program, not the fees.
I thought we also approved the fees that when we approved the program.
Believe Tina that the fees were probably in the legislation we passed a couple months ago. This is the formality to get it into the structure. Correct?
I'm just trying to get it to pull up here. I believe it was in the ordinance.
All right.
Yeah. So you don't have to rewrite.
So.
Yeah,
I was trying to find it myself. I couldn't find it.
you want to give the.
This is going into effect January 1st.
That's correct.
But we approved.
Can we unapprove it if it was approved? Because I'll second Phil's motion.
And Tina can help me here, but you've already essentially approved the document, approved the fees. This is the part that puts it into the structure where if you were to change that fee next year, you don't repass the 10-page ordinance again. Am I saying that correctly?
I believe so.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
approved in the
Andrew can help
ordinance,
here.
but then we assemble all of the fees into one document so that you're not having to go searching through documents. With the fee resolution, all of the fees and charges are in one location.
This 10-page document covers that book to the right of Andrew. You wouldn't want to read.
But so I think what we need to do, because we don't have the reference in front of us, I think that we need to deal with the fees associated with this. Currently, we'll pick up agenda item number 1 at the January meeting. It's already in an ordinance and we'll just reference that and we'll make sure that we have the document backup trail for the January meeting.
We've already signed the contract with the firm to start with this. So
to enter it into the fee structure.
I'll second Phil's motion.
What we're saying is we'll put it in the fee structure, but it won't upset what we've already approved.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
If I was searching for an ordinance, I can't find anywhere in sight. That pull it up. Indiana
Usually
agreement.
using the desktop and can find it quickly, but I don't usually use the code.
It was in September, it's like September, whatever September's date was.
September 25th, but I can't.
We have a motion that's on the floor. Was it seconded?
I seconded it.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Take care of the fee structure as presented, except for agenda or item number 1. At which time we will bring that to council in January with the proper backup. Any additional comments, question, or debate? Mrs. Leary, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Ms. Flasher,
Yeah.
Mrs. Casey,
Yes.
Mr. Kavner,
Yeah.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yep.
Mrs. McKay.
Yes. Yes.
Lala.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, agenda item 7G, proposed agreements, emergency medical services, Mr. Krogler, the Chief Krogler, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As noted at the November 17 meeting, the city has entered into multiple intermunicipal agreements pertaining to the provision of emergency medical services by the city fire department. These agreements have proven to be beneficial for both parties, and therefore steps were taken to renew those agreements, which expire on December 31st, 2025. Clarendon Borough and Youngsville Borough Councils approved their respective agreements and provided a signed signature page to the city. On council's approval of these 2 agreements, all intermunicipal EMS agreements expiring on December 31st, 2025 will have been renewed. Action requested, council consideration and motion regarding the proposed agreement pertaining to EMS, and enclosed are copies of both agreements.
Thank you very much. Would anybody like to address the council on this agenda item specifically? Hearing none, I'll turn it over to the council floor. Mr. Valella.
So Mayor, I would move that we approve the motion regarding the proposed agreements pertaining to EMS for Clarendon Borough and Youngsville Borough.
Second.
The motion and a second. Any further question, comment, or debate? Hearing none, Mrs. Leary, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Flasher.
Yes.
Mrs. Casey.
Yes.
Mr. Kavner,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes.
Mrs. McCain.
Yes.
Lala.
Yes.
Mayor Workman.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. Just a comment, want to continue to thank Chief and all the hard work on putting these EMS agreements together and maintaining them. I think the city being at the forefront of the EMS solution countywide, I think is commendable. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item 7H, proposed agreement, emergency care joint billing agreement. Chief Krogler again, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City Fire Department personnel provide emergency medical services at the basic life support level. When a call requiring advanced life support assistance occurs, Emergicare Incorporated, which is the county's ALS service provider, also responds. In these instances, both the city and Emergicare respond to the call and jointly provide pre-hospital services to the patient. It is necessary that there be an agreement in place which prescribes how patient billing for such calls is to be handled. The city and Emergicare have operated under prior joint billing agreements since 2014. The current JBA will expire on December 31st, 2025. Therefore, the city and Emergicare representatives have drafted a new one-year agreement to be in effect from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026. The agreement may be terminated by either party upon 90 days written notice to the other party. The only significant change was made to the 2025 agreement is the addition of language clarifying billing for Veterans Affairs patients. Action requested, council consideration and motion regarding the proposed joint billing agreement with Emergicare Incorporated, and enclosed that agreement.
Thank you very much. Would anybody like to address the council on this agenda item? Okay, hearing none, turn it over to the floor.
Why are they just 1 year? Why not multiple years?
That's at the request of Emergicare, with their contracts that they have with some of the insurance companies that changes or can change from year to year.
Thank you.
Any further question, comment, or debate? Mrs. Leary, will you please call, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we propose joint billing agreement with Emergicare Inc. for that.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Meeting adjourned. I know.
Mrs. Leary, will you please call the roll.
Ms. Fleischer?
Yeah.
Mrs. Casey?
Yes.
Mr. Patton?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Mrs. McCain?
Yes.
Mr. Llewellyn?
Yes.
Mayor Word?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
And the same, along the same lines, we appreciate the relationship that we have with Emergicare. They provide incredibly valuable service to the residents of the city of Warren, which is advanced life-saving services. And Chief, again, thank you for managing that relationship with Emergicare. Agenda item 7I, Midtown Parking Information Update. Chief Riveri, please.
Thank you, Mayor. At the November 17th meeting, Mayor Wortman acknowledged the proposed email correspondence from Ms. McCain suggesting the provision of one free parking space in the Midtown lot for each small business owner in the downtown area. Mayor Wortman requested that this matter be placed on the December council agenda. City staff met with the mayor and discussed this request. We will review current utilization of the Clark Street parking garage and the Midtown parking lot. Any changes to the utilization of the lots which require council's approval will be placed on a future agenda. This email, Ms. McCain's email is enclosed. I'm not asking for any action. This is simply an update. If there's any questions, comments, or concerns, I would welcome them.
At this point, just for informational purposes, if we have questions concerning this item, now would be the time to address it. We are, as you know, talking in a number of different ways with initiatives within parking world, within the city, different ideas, but taking a look at our current situation on how to best utilize Midtown and the parking garage. We're at the forefront of that. All of those involve different fee structures, et cetera. And quite frankly, having the information out there, and then if we're going to take next steps as part of, a broader look at how we can optimize the utilization, that will be added to future monthly agendas. Ms. Fleischer, did you have a question?
Yeah, so are you reviewing that actively, the utilization, or is that upon our request? Like, should we decide to take this a step further for utilization, or are you going to provide us with information once you have it?
So, good question. Basically, after we started reviewing everything and had a meeting and reviewed the request, kind of had more questions and then more questions and then more questions. For example, in my mind, what is a we're gonna put something on black and white on paper, what is a small town business? Is it based on finances? Is it based on size, employee sizes? Is it one parking spot for each business to use as whatever, or is it like the request says for each business owner? As far as like a systematic approach, the parking garage would be set up better to actually monitor that and assign a space as opposed to how would you track that in the Midtown lot? And again, is it for the business owner? Is it for, there's so many unknowns. It's kind of a subjective request in nature. It's up to a lot of interpretation, and it led to a larger discussion on the overall view of how everything is set up and utilized, and efficiency and costs and fees, and basically that's where we're at. So it's a lot bigger of a project than just saying, hey, everybody gets one. And then where do you draw that line at? If you're block out of C1, do you not get one?
Right.
And then you have businesses that are not pleased with us, or do you leave it the way it is? So I don't have that information. It led to a larger conversation, and there's much more homework to do.
Gotcha.
But it was said we put it on the agenda, so that's essentially the update.
And
Mr. McKay, please.
thank you for, having the conversation. I'd be happy to, brainstorm it too with you. It was just kind of an idea because having a strong, vibrant downtown matters to our city. And, the things that we can do to start to dispel the rumors that the city doesn't work with businesses would be important, and things that you can do to help the businesses. I think that's important to our revitalization effort. So, that was just one kind of idea because the Midtown lot's underutilized, and
But
we have
honestly, so I ran everything, not to get too far into the weeds. This is all my homework from council.
Sorry.
Great stack. Might not have brought it, so I'll paraphrase. I think I brought it. The paraphrase, say there's 166, I believe-ish spots in the Midtown lot. We're essentially about 2/3 capacity. So then the question was how many actual however we defined it, small town businesses, small downtown businesses are there. Those would probably take up about a quarter of the lot. The lot's typically 66% full. So where do we even have enough to accommodate that? And then, the discussion kind of got pushed over towards the garage where this is where the spots would be essentially.
I
So,
see it. It's
there's
bigger.
There's a lot that's been going into it.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to give you more work.
Any other questions on the parking update, lot utilization? Okay, agenda item 7J, appointments to boards and commissions. Mr. Rossi, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Following citizens' terms on city boards and commissions expire on December 31st, and all have indicated their interest in being considered for appointment to another term for their respective boards and commissions. Parks, Recreation, and Landscape Commission, it's a 4-year term expiring on December 31st, 2029. Appointments are Jackie Ango, Sherry Johnson, and Christine Whitaker. Planning Commission, 4-year term expiring on December 31st, 2029. Appointees Elizabeth Rabel and Katie Spiegel. Property Maintenance Board of Appeals, 5-year term expiring on December 31st, 2030, Donald Nelson. Redevelopment Authority, 5-year term expiring on December 31st, 2030, Douglas Hearn, Gary Sawtell, Renee Davis, a new appointment to serve the remainder of a vacated term expiring on December 31st, 2028. Zoning Hearing Board, appointed by resolution, 3-year term expiring on December 31st, 2020. Steve Blume, Donald Nelson, appointed to serve as an alternate. Action requested, council's consideration and motion to appoint the above listed candidates for the stated terms on the respective authorities, boards, or commissions, and to approve the resolution appointing Steve Blume to the Zoning Hearing Board. Enclosed proposed resolution appointing Steve Blume and Donald Nelson to the zoning hearing board, and Renee Davison's application to serve on the redevelopment authority.
Thank you very much. Would anybody like to address the council on this agenda item specifically? Okay, hearing none. Mrs. McCain?
I have a quick question for Randy. So when I was on the redevelopment authority when I was elected to city council. And so nobody told me I had to resign, but I assumed that I had to resign. And I know Will resigned from the RDA also. I don't know if he was told to resign or he assumed he needed, are you supposed to resign or not? Is there a rule or is it just, have we been making assumptions? And the reason I thought about it is I saw Mr. Cashman is heading the zoning hearing board. So I don't know if that's different or I thought so in the minutes. It had you opening the meeting.
Not the zoning hearing board.
Oh, the blighted property.
Yeah, and I was appointed to the blighted property. Because
Blighted-
there's a city council member
The authorities will go ahead.
Blighted property is different than the other boards and commissions. By its bylaws, it has to be made up of certain members, one being a seated council member, another being city staff. A third person is appointed from the redevelopment authority, and another one then is a citizen at large. That's part of their rules.
So then we were right to resign.
Yes.
Okay. I just was curious.
And the authority being that's an authority. You cannot be an elected official and serve on the authority.
Okay.
That's clear. No.
Would the city or city council ever entertain annually having the boards and commissions coming to do presentations or anything? It just seems like there's a
Yeah, that's interesting because for years, the Parks Commission was always very good at coming and giving that presentation every year. Actually, Don Nelson would come over the years, yes, to answer your question, Don Nelson came every year for many years to give the Planning Commission review. Mary and Josie would come for the Parks review. So yes, over the years, at different times, the folks have done that, and we could certainly, as staff, have those trainings.
I mean, it gives them some extra recognition.
Most of the chairpersons of those groups would be more than happy to come.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Something we used to do. Tina, make a note of that. We'll talk about that at the next various.
But on that, give that to Barry.
I did find you had stuff in my bag.
Oh, did you?
It was stuck together.
Okay, so we have, can we get a motion and a second on the floor?
We'll move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further question, comment, or debate on this item?
Sorry, I didn't mean to spit.
Mrs. Leary, please call the roll.
May I clarify, is the motion to cover the appointments to the boards and commissions as well as the resolution appointing Mr. Blume and Mr. Nelson to the zoning hearing board?
That's correct, as per that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Mrs. Leary, please call the roll.
Yes, Ms. Flasher?
Yeah.
Mrs. Casey?
Yes.
Mr. Cashman?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Mrs. McCain?
Yes.
Mr. Bilella?
Yeah.
Mayor Wortman?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you very much, and thank you most importantly to the folks that are willing to serve the city in these capacities. Volunteerism, thank you very much. Committee updates. By exception, task force, you have any?
Just quickly, two events that took place in downtown Warren. One on 11/29 was Shop Local, Shop Small. It was heavily attended. I believe most of the business owners were very happy with the amount of influx in foot traffic. Also, in conjunction with the chamber, I believe the Christmas walk on 12/5 was a success. And the task force itself met on 12/9 to finalize the designs for the actual wayfinding signs.
So finalizing the designs, so when implementation, manufacturing, installation, what do we have in terms of thought on when that's going to take place?
Hopefully early spring of next year.
26.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Any questions on task force related items? Mr. Yursick, do you have any riverfront development?
Just that the plans and the construction specifications were submitted to the Fish and Boat Commission to close out the design grant that they gave us.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Fleischer?
So this time last year, we were setting up a public session. We did it the first week of January last year. Are we still planning on doing another public kind of community session?
We are planning on a session in January. The date hasn't been determined yet, but yes.
How will that get communicated out?
Well, in the same manner that it has been in the past. I mean, it'll be on the website, it'll be notifications within the newspaper. We'll contact Warren Works and the WCCBI and the community at large. Try to generate that, yeah.
Usual suspect.
Okay. Council of Governments, any updates there?
Nothing earth shattering. So we had our reorganization and was a big bulk of our meeting was just reestablishing our officers and our meeting schedule and what have you. The county reported on a couple of items. They have a balanced budget. They were talking about their millage, kind of their projects going forward. The reassessment was big on their mind. Everything else was pretty much standard. We talked a lot about the municipal administrator secretary meeting and how that's been going, which I don't know if anybody here has a keen interest in that, but it's growing in more attendance. It's very helpful, according to Mike Lyon, the director of planning at the county. And then we did get a good update from Lisa Card, who's the newly elected, chosen, whatever, executive director of the Visitors Bureau. And she was mentioning how December is a busy month for our county. There's a lot of events going on, and that as part of her duties as director, she's been kind of marketing us as a Hallmark Christmas. And I did attend our Christmas walk and the lighting ceremony. Go you, by the way. Excellent job. Could not have been better.
Joint effort.
It was stunning. And I think that the city of Warren embodied that Hallmark Christmas that, you know, people travel many miles to come to a place like this to get that kitschy, cute, cozy winter. And I think we have truly delivered that, as we always do. But yeah, so we'll be reconvening for COG January 14th, I believe we decided, if you remember here. And that's that. So I don't have any amazing questions, but.
Any questions? All right. I just would like to reiterate, I think the Warren wishes you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year sign looks fantastic. And hopefully we continue to see growth with the light up of the riverfront. The trees look amazing and definitely a great addition to the iconic Warren Christmas sign.
And I have to say, my father's born in 65, always born here. We drove by and he goes, I guess that does look better, which for him is a huge high praise. It's so.
I'll take that.
Yeah. It's a big compliment.
Anything new or exciting or different on the Works piece?
No, I think, no, we talked a lot about that tonight. So.
Yep.
And you got the January.
Any questions for department heads on departmental reports?
Just a
Ms. Fleischer?
big shout out to DPW for the snow removal you guys have been doing. I know I mean, I watch our plow go down my street quite often. You guys are doing a great job. I have not fallen down not once yet, which is really great. So big kudos to them. And
We really appreciate that. It's been very busy this year has been, the comment was made that this is the first year that you can go deer hunting and ice fishing at the same time. So I can tell you that from the outdoors point of view, winter came early, cold, earlier than it's been in probably 15 years.
Well, their efforts don't go unnoticed.
But
And
we have really,
yeah.
and just to let you know, the budget will show it. We keep going out and we keep going out.
And then it's gonna be 45.
Yeah, and it'll be
Like 2 days.
leaf pickup.
2 days, and then
Sunday it's 20 again.
so are we gonna have a white Christmas?
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Any last questions for the department heads on any of the reports? Before we break up for the holiday season, I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and a holiday season that everybody is looking forward to. Hope you're blessed with family and friends, and look forward to catching up again in the early new year. So with that,
Motion to adjourn.
So, second.
meeting adjourned.